Corazón, tú me pides corazón.
Hi Spain fans, hola chicos, it's Richard. 29th of March, 40 passengers coming out via Manchester to Alicante were put back on the plane and sent back to the UK. To say tempers are running high is an understatement. What an absolute bloody balls up, and you know, some clarity is required, but how do you get clarity in these absolutely mad blooming times? So we're going down to Vera today to try and do a walk around, which was going to be a pleasant walk around to see how the town's faring during the crisis, but we're going to now combine within that asking Spanish people, normal Spanish people, whether they would welcome the tourists back from the UK, because I think there's a little bit of an undercurrent that Brits are no longer welcome here in Spain. We really don't think, if you speak to the average Spanish person on the street, that this is the case. You'd be more than welcome back. In fact, they're actually desperate to get you back and enjoying the wonderful Spanish lifestyle. As I said earlier, I've lived here for 20 years, and we're left absolutely bewildered by what is going on at the moment. 1 minute you can do this, the next minute you can't. For example, it was stated a week or so ago that travel bans were now being lifted and that tourists would be welcomed back from not just the UK but other European countries as of the 31st of March. Now, there's a total about turn on that. It's now been extended till the end of April. So 1 minute you can do something, the next minute you can't. These guys flying in from Manchester, they were flying in before the deadline for tourists, because that was not supposed to come into play till the 31st of March. But a load of these guys have had successful residencia applications, or TIE applications, and yet they were refused entry and put back on the plane. Explain that. I have no idea why that has happened. I've done lots of research this morning before going out to make this movie to see, you know, what the Spanish government's reasons were for putting these people back on the plane. There is nothing that's tangible or making any sense, other than it was made clear to them before they travelled, which it certainly wasn't by either the airline Ryanair or, you know, via the media, that they would not be permitted entry into Spain. Further confusion is being caused by it being put around that as of the 31st of March, not only residents and TIE card holders will be able to fly into Spain, but also people coming here for essential reasons. Now, wonderful, essential reasons. What qualifies an essential reason? I've heard it reported that you could say a visit to an estate agent to look for a property to purchase is an essential reason. But nobody's clarifying this. Another essential reason, you've got a second home here in Spain and you need to get over because you haven't been able to for a long time to maintain it. Still, it's not being clarified. Guys, this is absolutely ridiculous. You know, Boris on one side, Spain announces tourists can come back. The day after, Boris announces that if you leave the UK as a tourist, you'll be fined at 5,000 to 6,000 euros for doing so. Where do we stand? I'm going to keep a very close eye on this, but I don't think it's one of those situations where we will be able to provide any clarity, because neither side of the fence seems to know what's going on and what they're doing. But what we are going to do, as I said, is try and give some kind of reassurance that UK tourists, British tourists, are very, very welcome in Spain as soon as the governments allow us a freedom of travel, and that in fact the Spanish population as a whole are waiting to see you, welcome you back to their establishments, to the wonderful beach areas, and let's get back to business as usual. So keep you posted.
Sí.
Hola, buenos días. Somos María Dolores y Domingo, de la Cena de Almeria, y estamos deseando que vuelvan los clientes ingleses, porque ellos son una de las bases principales de nuestra tienda. Entre otras cosas, son consumidores de productos orgánicos, que nosotros tenemos muchísimo, y además pues alegran mucho todo nuestro territorio. ¿Qué haríamos nosotros sin ellos y sin mucha más gente?
It was Maria and Domingo, and they were just telling us how happy they would be for the tourists to come back to the area, as they buy a lot of the organic produce and they bring a lot of vibe back into the whole area.
noche mediterránea gastrobar y estamos deseosos de que el turismo vuelva a Vera porque es un motor fundamental para nosotros.
Hi, I'm Anna, and yes, we're more than ready for the tourism to come back to Vera because it is a fundamental part of our business.
Pues sí, hola, mi nombre es Francisco y sí, pienso que es algo muy necesario que vuelva el turismo y lo necesitamos todos, la hostelería y en general todo.
Hi, my name's Francisco, and yes, we're more than ready for the tourism to come back to Spain for the hostelería and for everything in general.
Sí, me llamo Carmen. Sí, estoy preparada para que venga el turismo, claro. Es la alegría de la zona.
Yes, this is Carmen, and she's more than ready for the tourism to come back because it is the vibe and the joy of this area.
Sí, echamos de menos al turismo.
Yes, we miss the tourism a lot.
Tenemos muchas ganas de que vuelvan.
We're really ready for them to come back.
And yes, of course, you will be very welcome to Spain again.
Pues sí, me parece que no hay una decisión correcta, pero que yo creo que si abriéramos fronteras y viniera más gente de turismo, creo que la cosa mejoraría económicamente. No sé las consecuencias en torno a la salud.
So this is Danny, and he thinks that, and he says that this is a very difficult subject. But obviously, for the bars and restaurants, it would be brilliant if they did open up the fronteras. But he doesn't know what circumstances there would be for people's health.
Hola, soy Reme. Sí, me encantaría que volviera el turismo. Yo me considero turismo, a mí me encanta viajar y me encantaría que abrieran las fronteras.
Yes, so this is Remy, and she would love the tourists to come back as well, and she would love all the fronteras to open again so that she can go on holiday as well.
Hi guys, back at home now, and safe to say I think, confusion still reigns. There is no fixed date when Brit tourists will be able to fly back to Spain freely, or any further clarity on what happened in Alicante airport on the 29th, where 40 Brits, many of whom had homes here, had successful residency applications in place and needed to get back to Spain to pick up these residency cards, why they were barred from entry and deported back, if you like, to the UK on the same flight they arrived on. But as I hope you've seen there from the interviews, we spoke to many more people than we've got the time to feature, but what a huge positive. I think every single Spanish person that we spoke to, whether they be business people, whether they be young people just out having a beer, whether it be kind of bar or restaurant owners, unanimously they are all so looking forward to the day Brit tourists can come back to Spain, to Almeria in particular, enjoy the wonderful sunshine, the wonderful hospitality, partake in the fantastic food and enjoy a cold beer. They're waiting to welcome you back with open arms, and that's got to be seen as a huge positive. Tempers, are running high over here as well. It's very hard for all of us to accept. We can't travel freely, we're missing family members, and whilst we can deal with that perhaps, what we can't deal with is, yes you can, no you can't, yes you can, no you can't. But this is not the fault of the real people, the people on the street, normal people. This is, no doubt about it, the blame of the politicians and the bureaucrats who don't know what the left hand is doing from the right hand and are making an absolute hash of this. Fingers crossed, crossing everything else as well, they can get their acts together sooner rather than later, and we can all get back to some kind of normality, especially when it comes to freedom of travel. If you've found this useful and you've enjoyed, please make a comment. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Any likes, subscriptions, really appreciated. Take care guys, see you soon. Hasta pronto.